Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, back to do day 25 of my 31 Days of Horror in October. Today's going to be about Last Nightmare, the segment I do with my very good friend Nick, the Last Shoegazer, where we kind of watch the same movie at the same time, message back and forth, usually ragging on the film, sometimes giving fun facts. It's just a fun way to take in a movie together that we both have in our collections, separately but together. So just reinforces that connection. Last night we watched Mad Monster Party with a special guest, but I will let Nick tell you more about that in part 2. Now, Mad Monster Party is a 1967 film which runs approximately 95 minutes and is directed by Jules Bass from the Rankin Bass collaboration. They were basically synonymous with my childhood. This is a film, if you guys watched my 31 Days of Horror when I was showing the movies that I was going to be reviewing, this is the only one that I had actually seen previously, but explained that it had been so long since I had seen it. I saw it when I was a little kid. It used to come on every Halloween, that I had basically forgotten about it. But as I was watching it, a lot came back. Uh, Rankin Bass, such a big part of my childhood, big part, and a somewhat large part of the childhood today. Um, there are still movies that are being played, done by Rankin Bass. They are timeless. This one especially, I don't know why they stopped playing it. It is so much fun. Now, Jules Bass was responsible for directing The Wind in the Willows, which I really do need to find a good copy of that. I've seen it several times at thrift stores, but they've always been scratched, which, unfortunately, when you pick up children's movies in thrift stores, a lot of times they're scratched. Also, he was responsible for The Last Unicorn, The Return of the King, which was the third film in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Year Without a Santa Claus, where you'll see the puppet stop motion animation as well. 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which I do own, haven't watched in a very long time. Yeah, I'll have to get to that. Santa Claus is Coming to Town, which most kids still watch to this day. And my favorite movie that they did, that I watched all the time when I was little, and I do own now, is The Hobbit. The first part. Of course, the second part was handled by, now I'm drawing a blank for some reason, but it was a theatrical film done by Ralph Bakshi. Yeah, for some reason that name escaped me for some reason. You cannot watch. You can watch the three together, but it won't give you the whole story. They borrow bits and pieces of the story in each one. So it's kind of incomplete. I still watch them together, but it is what it is. Now, the other part of this collaboration, Arthur Rankin Jr., he was the producer. Unfortunately, he passed January the 30th of 2014 at the age of 89. One thing I found that was pretty interesting was he was born in Baltimore, Maryland, which is, I'm from Maryland, so it's pretty cool. I looked for a reason for his death, couldn't find one, but yeah. Now, the lead character, um, Baron Boris von Frankenstein, is played by the late great Boris Karloff, who passed away on February the 2nd, 1969, at the age of 81 due to pneumonia. Of course, he's responsible for such classics as Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Black Sabbath, The Ghoul, The Mummy, The Raven, comedy of, I believe, I can't remember if he was in Comedy of Terrors or not. For some reason, I think he was. I could be wrong about that, though. Also, a lot of young people may not know who this is, but Nick did, which kind of restored my faith in youth. But Phyllis Diller. She also lended her voice to the mate, the monster's mate. Um, she was very much in my childhood, you know, with um, being on television, Love Boat, Love American Style, Get Smart. I believe she was in an episode of Chips. And I believe the last thing she might have done was A Bug's Life, where she played the Queen. She lent her voice to the Queen. Now, she passed away on August the 20th of 2012 at the age of 95 due to congestive heart failure. So, RIP to all those involved in this that are no longer with us. The other thing I thought was really interesting was a majority of the other characters were played by or voiced by Alan Swift. Let's see, he was responsible for Felix Franken rather, Yetch, read my notes here, Dracula, The Invisible Man, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Chef Machiavelli, the Captain, the First Mate, Mr. Cronkite, which I thought that was hysterical, the Mailman, and the Monster, which is, of course is Frankenstein's monster. But yeah, I just had a ball with this. I'm pretty sure Nick did too. I'll let him get into the synopsis and our overall rating. And he can also tell you about our special guest that we had last night. But yeah, this was just a lot of fun. Make sure you tune in to Nick, the Last Shoegazer, for About Last Nightmare Part 2. And other YouTubers who are participating in the 31 are You and Your Horror Movies, Jen's Reviews from the Grave, Last Venom 76, Lisa Loves, Dave Maggot, Random Horror, The Horror Man, Horror Fan 34, Zombie Victim, Brother Peanut Butter. Andrew's Crypt is doing 31 Days of Recommendations. Retro Horror and Celluloid Terror are doing the 100 Movie Challenge. Wow. Bronco Juggalo is doing 31 random videos. And 3 from the Grave featuring Lisa Loves, Strange Monkey, and Movie Massacre. Can't wait for the next episode, guys. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.